Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take complex stories, cut through the noise, and really pull out the key insights for you. Today, we're diving into a case that's, well, frankly, horrifying, the conviction of Yostin Mosquera. Our goal here is to unpack this disturbing event, from the shocking discovery right through to the court details. We want to understand what the sources tell us about premeditation, motive, just the chilling nature of it all. You sent us a whole stack of articles, and we've boiled them down to give you a clear picture of what happened. Okay, let's get into it. So this whole thing kicks off with a really grim discovery, doesn't it? July 13th, 2024. Mosquera's arrested, but like 100 miles away from the crime scene in Bristol.
That's right. He was actually caught trying to dump two big suitcases off the Clifton suspension bridge.
And that's when things unraveled?
Exactly. A member of the public saw one of the suitcases leaking blood, confronted him.
Wow.
Mosquera ran off, but the police were called. And inside those cases, well, they found body parts. A truly gruesome discovery.
Just horrific. And how did they connect him back to London so quickly?
It was actually a small detail. A luggage label on one of the suitcases.
Really?
Yeah. That label led the police straight back to the victim's flat in Shepherd's Bush, London. It was, a critical link right at the start.
Incredible. Just a luggage label.
Yeah.
And that led them to the victims. Tell us about them, Paul and Albert.
Right. The victims were Paul Longworth, who was 71, and his civil partner, Albert Alfonso, 62. Sources say they'd been together for decades, a loving, committed relationship, lived together there in West London.
Okay, so how does Yostin Mosquera, this 35-year-old Colombian guy, end up in their home?
Well, this is where it gets complicated. Mosquera was described as a pornographic performer.
And his connection was with Albert.
Primarily, yes. They first connected online through webcam sex websites way back in 2012. By 2017, it had evolved. Albert was paying Mosquera for explicit videos.
Okay, so an online financial relationship first.
Exactly. Then it moved offline. Their first actual meeting was October 2023. Albert sponsored Mosquera's trip to the UK. They met again in March 2024, this time in Cartagena, Colombia. And Paul went on that trip too.
Paul's involved, okay.
Then Mosquera came back to London in May 2024. He stayed with Albert and Paul for the whole month leading up to the murders. And Albert was apparently very generous, got him a gym membership, paid for a language course, even took him on holiday to Brighton.
So he was really being looked after. But then Mosquera later made claims about being assaulted.
He did. He later claimed he was raped on a daily basis. But the sources we looked at point out he'd signed a consent form for videos they made to go online. The key thing seems to be that Mosquera was in a consensual sexual relationship with Albert, and Paul knew about it and accepted it.
Right. That context is pretty crucial, especially given what happened next.
It is. The murders themselves happened on July 8th, 2024, and the timeline is just deeply unsettling. Mosquera attacked Paul Longworth first, in the afternoon, while Albert was still out at work.
How? How was Paul killed?
It was brutal. He was battered to death with a hammer, suffered a shattered skull. His body was then hidden in a storage space under their bed.
Oh my God. Hidden under the bed, and Albert comes home later.
Yes. Later that evening, Albert returned home from work completely unaware, and Mosquera attacked him too. And this attack, horrifically, was caught on camera.
Caught on camera? How?
They had apparently set up a camera intending to record a sex session later.
Unbelievable. So the camera recorded Albert's murder.
Yes. It recorded Mosquera repeatedly stabbing Albert, injuries to his torso, face, neck, and chillingly, Mosquera was heard taunting him, sneering, "Do you like it?" before
Right.
cutting his
You know
skull.
what that is? I have no words. Just pure evil.
And the footage didn't stop there. Immediately after, the camera captured Mosquera naked, covered in blood,
What was he doing?
gleefully spinning around the apartment, singing, dance. It was shown in court. A truly sickening display. Zero remorse apparent.
That footage must have been key,
Oh,
especially regarding his later claims.
absolutely. It brings us right to the evidence of premeditation and the financial motive, which completely contradicts his claim of, loss of control.
Right. What evidence pointed to planning?
The online searches he made are incredibly damning. On the actual day of the killings, July 8th, he searched, "Where on the head is a knock fatal."
He searched that on the day.
On the day, and in the days before the killings, he searched for hammer killer.
Hammer killer. Wow. Okay, so he's researching the method.
It seems like it. And then there were the searches for freezers.
Freezers.
Yeah, repeated searches. Deep freezers, chest freezers, large ones, indoor, outdoor, asking about delivery options, all made while he was alone in the flat.
And that connects to?
That connects directly to the later discovery. The victims' decapitated heads and other remains were found stored in a chest freezer in the flat.
Oh, God. So he planned the disposal, too.
It certainly looks that way. He also looked up the value of the Shepherd's Bush property.
Yeah.
And accessed the couple's personal financial information.
Okay, so there's the financial angle emerging clearly.
And his actions after the murders really solidify that. He tried, unsuccessfully at first, to send himself money from Albert's bank account. Then he did manage to withdraw cash from the account using ATMs.
Right, getting cash.
And he also accessed a boarding pass for a return flight to Colombia.
So planning his escape, too. It all paints a picture of calculation, not impulse.
Exactly. A planned attack, financial gain, escape route. It's far from a sudden loss of control.
Which must have made his defense difficult at trial. What did he actually claim?
Well, his defense was complex. He admitted killing Albert Alfonso, but claimed manslaughter, loss of control, he said. But he pleaded not guilty to both murders.
How did he explain Paul's death then?
He insisted that Albert had actually killed Paul first, and that he, Mosquera, then killed Albert because he feared for his own life. Said he felt intimidated, claimed Albert had threatened his family back in Colombia.
That seems quite a stretch, given the evidence we've just discussed. The freezer searches, the hammer searches.
Indeed. And the jury at Woolwich Crown Court had to grapple with all of it. They were reportedly forced to watch the gruesome evidence again and again. The video footage, the bloodied hammer, the stained bed base. Imagine sitting through that.
It must have been incredibly traumatic for them.
Absolutely. The judge, Sir Joel Nathan Benethan, even commented on the serious demands placed on the jurors. But ultimately, on July 21st, 2025, the jury delivered their verdict. Guilty on 2 counts of murder.
And the police who investigated this must have taken a huge toll on them, too.
Oh, definitely. Detective Chief Inspector Ollie Stride, who led the investigation, was very open about it. He called it one of the most traumatic, harrowing murder investigations I've dealt with by virtue of that video.
Because of the video footage?
Yes. He mentioned his team watched hundreds of hours of footage, some of it just utmost disturbing and graphic. He said those images will stay with all of us for a very long time.
I can only imagine.
But he also noted, from an investigative standpoint, the video was like an investigator's dream, because it left no dispute about what actually happened during Albert's murder. They were very careful about who watched it, though, precisely because it was so traumatic.
Understandable. Was there any mention of the wider community impact?
Yes. Detective Inspector Neil Mead from Avon and Somerset Police, remember, the arrest was in Bristol. He acknowledged the incident was deeply concerning for LGBT communities. He mentioned they worked closely with the LGBT+ independent advisory group throughout, which is important.
Good to hear. And sentencing.
That's been scheduled for October 24th. You know, what's really striking here when you step back is the sheer amount of digital evidence.
Right. It's everywhere in this case.
From Albert's own camera capturing the horrific act itself, to Mosquera's own online searches, basically mapping out his intentions.
Yeah, the searches are just chillingly specific.
It really throws a spotlight on the digital footprint we all leave, how it can, inadvertently build a case, reveal premeditation. It illuminates the absolute darkest aspects of human behavior.
Yeah, this deep dive really does underscore the power of digital forensics now. It's not just about finding a smoking gun. It's about reconstructing intent, planning. It gives you this awful window into not just the crime, but the chilling thought process behind it. So you should now have a pretty comprehensive picture of this deeply disturbing case.
And maybe something to think about as you reflect on this is that kind of dual nature of our digital lives. These technologies we use for connection, for convenience. In the wrong hands, they become tools for planning terrible acts. But they also leave this undeniable trail, a trail that ultimately justice can follow.